this is nice to be back online again, because last week we did a very strange thing. We were in Germany. We actually did 3 shows to people sitting there in front of us. A very strange thing, but it's worth a try occasionally.
Real people, with a stage and everything.
But it's nice to be back to normality.
Looking into a little box and a camera, and not getting any response. Oh, there are lots of responses. Lovely to see you all again. It's been a while.
So
Good start to the evening, wasn't it?
Well, hasn't it been
Fantastic.
Great? Lovely. So tell us about the song, Karen.
Well, no, first of all, I tell them we are up in Staffordshire, and you might have noticed I'm not from round here. I'm originally from Germany, and from Stuttgart in southern Germany, and it's good to see you all again.
And I'm from Stoke.
That's right. And we, last year, about this time, we were in Cork, in the city of Cork in Southern Ireland, and we met a gentleman there called Jimmy Crowley, and he's a singer-songwriter but also a song collector of traditional and not so traditional songs around Cork and the area of Cork. And this is one that really jumped at me, at least. I really like that. It's called The Rose of Coburg Street, and tells a story of a lady who comes home after a long time away from Cork and looks for the things that she has probably lost or hopes to find back.
Didn't he write this one, though? Didn't he write the lyrics?
He wrote the music, and somebody Daly wrote the lyrics. That's right.
Here we go.
On a night of talk, of smiles and tears, a woman scrolled through 80 years, recalling times that long had flown in a city that she once had known. I was read, she said, on Coburg Street, while Patrick's Hill plants down his feet. But that was back in the long ago, when the pace of life was smooth and slow. Those were the days, that was the time, when I was young and in my prime. Cork was heaven and life was sweet, and I was the rose of Coburg Street. I was the rose of Coburg Street. On recollection, I suppose, 'twas Frank who first called me the rose. He lived down by the Blackstone Bridge, played saxophone on Sunset Ridge. We got married, moved away to live our lives in Boston Bay, the common mix of joy and tears. Frank's been buried 10 long years. Those were the days, that was the time, when I was young and in my prime. Cork was heaven and life was sweet, and I was the rose of Coburg Street. I was the rose of Coburg Street. On coming home, I hope to find things of that I've left behind. But kids don't play on Coburg Street, where are the folks I long to meet? Gone the clip-clop of iron shoes, the noble horse is not would use. The shops are shut and no one knows the dame that is now the faded rose. Those were the days, that was the time, when I was young and in my prime. Cork was heaven and life was sweet, and I was the rose of Coburg Street. I was the rose of Coburg Street. Just then was heard a plaintive tone, somewhere a muted saxophone. And in that room, 'twas like a dream, a change came over the woman's mien. As she was young again, with graceful air, eyes of hazel auburn hair. Before me stood for a moment fleet the lovely rose of Coburg Street. Those were the days, that was the time when I was young and in my prime. Cork was heaven and life was sweet, and I was the rose of Coburg Street, the lovely rose of Coburg Street. Those were the days, that was the time when I was young and in my prime. Cork was heaven and life was sweet, and I was the rose of Coburg Street, the lovely rose of Coburg Street.
Thank you.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen from Staffordshire.